There were a number of dynamically exciting cars in the RPM-TV 2011-2012 long-term test fleet, including an Alfa Mito, a hybrid Honda, and of course the BMW Z4. But none of them could match the Audi S4 when it came to combining luxury with tar-ripping performance. 12 months later, it's time to say goodbye. The S4 3-litre V6 TFSI S-Tronic, to give it its full designation, arrived at the RPM-TV offices with just more than 600 kilometres on the clock. At the time, the base price was 616,000 rands, but with niceties such as sat-nav and special 19-inch wheels, the test car's sticker price came to 718,000 rand. The S4 is best described as an A4 on steroids, which means it offers all the space and practicality of a normal A4 sedan, but combined with a level of performance potential that would be considered ample in the sports car context. In fact, there was a lot we enjoyed about the S4. There are a lot of reasons to like the Audi S4. Visually, it's very understated, which means it really attracts the attentions of the traffic light Grand Prix racers. Of course, the interior very luxurious, very spacious, and we particularly liked the Alcantara-clad bucket seats. But the S4 is a sports sedan, so it comes as no surprise that the aspect we enjoyed the most was the performance. With an interior ably expressing the S4's dynamic character and a lusty force-induced V6 under the bonnet, the S4 is serious about delivering on its performance promise. The suspension is tauter than expected, allowing plenty of chassis feedback, but often at the expense of overall comfort. The Quattro all-wheel drive system really benefits traction when pressing on, and combined with a dynamic drive system's sportiest settings and the optional Quattro Sport differential, the S4 corners with confidence and precision despite its not inconsiderable bulk. The 3-litre V6 engine is supercharged and credited with 245 kilowatts of max power, coupled to 440 Nm of torque. That's a lot of muscle, and explains why the S4 gets off the mark with the alacrity of a scalded cat, if required. The good news here is a 0 to 100 sprint time of 5.1 seconds, but the bad news is that enthusiastic driving is rewarded with a hefty appetite for 95 unleaded. Our worst figure during some vigorous driving was well over 21 litres per 100 kilometres. But once you've experienced just how rewarding driving the S4 is, fuel bills are no longer a deterrent, and yet it wasn't always moonshine and roses. There's no easy way to say this, but the Audi S4 wasn't without its problems. Very early on in the test period, we experienced a sporadic knocking sound which was very difficult to trace, and as a result we sent it to the workshop several times. During that period they replaced all sorts of suspension parts, but as it turns out they just could not get rid of that knocking sound. Audi even got a German expert to spend time with the car, and the final verdict was that the noise was due to a combination of our less than perfect road surfaces and those optional 19-inch wheels. Interestingly, the noise was sporadic and it never compromised the S4's exceptional handling prowess, even when driving with intent. But from a customer perspective, it was both annoying and ultimately unacceptable. Like all Audis, the S4 comes with a 5-year, 100,000 kilometre full maintenance plan, which means the running costs in those 5 years are restricted to fuel and tyres only. But then this is not the most fuel-efficient car around. Our average over the test period came to about 16 litres per 100 kilometres, which means that if you're travelling 20,000 kilometres a year, your monthly fuel bill will be between 2,500 and 3,000 rand. Under the maintenance plan, tyre wear is the only other cost concern, but the A4's Continental Sport Contact rubber stood up well to our many kilometres of vigorous driving, and after 16,000 kilometres still had plenty of life in them. The Audi S4 is one of those great sports sedans that finds the perfect compromise between performance, space and luxury. The problems we experienced with this car appear to be isolated, and we would suggest that you stick to the 18-inch wheels because they're probably a better match to the Quattro drivetrain and to this rather stiff sport suspension, besides the fact that they also offer a better ride. In 16,000 kilometres, we spent around 25,000 rand on fuel, but the S4 made every cent worthwhile.